Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. So, this morning I want to talk about a concept that is ingrained into us from society, our parents, every one of our interactions from the moment we are born. And ultimately, this concept is what traps us into the system that we are living in today. Now, there's no way for us to avoid this because we don't have the wisdom, the fortitude, nor the understanding to realize that we're being led on, that we're being walked right into this trap. And in turn, society and our parents don't realize that they are walking us into this trap either, which is why this is the ultimate spell. It's the ultimate joke. And if you think about the irony of it, is that we reserve ourselves to this system willingly, because everything that we as human beings get ourselves into by the very laws of reality has to be under free agency. But what they've done is they have removed the very concept of free agency by making us use our free agency to give it up. What do I mean by this? So, from the very minute you are born into this system, in order for your parents to maintain the role as teacher, they insert you into this system where they never teach you everything you need to know all at once. Because let's face it, if they did, you would have no reason to keep listening to them. You would go out and forge your own way, which is exactly what the powers that shouldn't be inserted this program into the equation for. You can't have people living in a world where they actually have the understanding of their own agency while at the same time remaining in control of the system. So how do you do this? Like I said, you insert children into a program in which they are always being prepared for tomorrow. And it's a well-known phrase that tomorrow never comes. So what are you doing in the long run? You are setting a child up by inserting them into a system with grading and comparing them to their peers and saying you have to meet this threshold in order to progress forward. So you're never living for the moment that you are in. Rather, you are constantly striving to prove yourself worthy to be part of humanity, where in fact it should be the complete opposite. From day one, your parents should be thanking you for joining humanity and allowing you to forge your own way. Now, we as humans like to believe that we are free. However, nothing could be further from the truth. No man that has ever lived has been truly free. I don't care how much power you have. I don't care if you live out in the middle of the Amazon jungle and you've never had contact with any other humankind besides your tribe. No man is truly free. And if you want to disagree with me, ask yourself this question. Could you walk into Times Square, pull the trigger of a gun on somebody's head, and walk away from the scene telling me that you were free? The answer is no. Now, I'm not saying anybody should do that, but it just proves the simple point that society has ingrained a set of rules of nature, so to say, for how humans are supposed to interact with one another. I.e., when you are being raised as a child, for example, and you have a brother or sister on the way, what's one of the first things that you are taught? You're taught that you're supposed to love your brother or sister unconditionally. Why? Not because we're telling you to, but because you should want to on your own. And this is where they trap you into believing that you are free. By telling a child that they should love their brother or sister to begin with, defeats the purpose, because it's setting a societal standard of what is expected of you. And now, we cannot praise you unless you do this. But you're not going to do it because we told you to. You're going to do it because you want to. You should. It's part of your moral fire, your moral being, right? However, nothing could be further from the truth. You're not going to love somebody the minute they are born simply because they are your brother or sister. Not truly. You may be able to say it, but you don't truly believe it. And in turn, that societal expectation makes you think you have to love your brother or sister. You have to love your mother or father. I'm telling you right now that yes, most people do love their mother and father and their brothers and sisters. However, there are examples and cases where that love is not earned. Okay? Love isn't something that you can just pull out of your ass and will into existence. It's forged through common trials and tribulations. It's forged through having great happy times together. It's forged through building a relationship and coming to the understanding that I'm always going to be there for you and you're always going to be there for me. Period. And that has to be earned. However, we teach our children the complete opposite. And in fact, this leads a lot of children into a place where they allow themselves to be manipulated, not because of their free agency, but because you convinced them that they are free. Where if they actually were free, and their mother or father abused them, or molested them, that love would die. However, because you've ingrained it in that child's head that they have no other choice, that society will not accept them, you ultimately trap them into the ultimate Stockholm Syndrome from day one. And now you can apply this same philosophy with schooling. What do you do with school? They put you into school and they teach you that this teacher knows more than you, that you should listen to them, that they're not going to lie to you, that they're not going to deceive you, that they are always going to do what is best for you. However, that's not true, okay? And they tell you that this person deserves your respect, not because you have to respect this person, but because you should want to, because they are your mentor, and naturally you respect your mentors. Well, I'm telling you right now, in the real world, a mentor is somebody, once again, that you have to build a relationship with, that you have to see for your own two eyes, knows their craft, knows what they are talking about, and has practical, applicable knowledge of that subject. Nothing could be further from the truth when you look at the education system that we have today. And that's another way that they trap us into this society of we are always living for tomorrow. Ultimately, you have, pre-K, which prepares, like preschool. It prepares you for kindergarten. Kindergarten prepares you for first grade, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, graduate school, PhD. And then eventually, you either go into the workforce, and by the time that you can actually enjoy life and live the life you've always been striving for, the day you've always been looking for, you're geriatric, you're impotent, your prostate's rotting out, and you don't have any energy at all. And what have they done? They have convinced you that this entire time you are free. Nothing could be further from the truth. And the sooner that you accept that there is no free agency anywhere in this reality that we live, the sooner you will come closer, or as close as you can, to actually having agency over yourself. What's the major takeaway here? The major takeaway is all of humanity is a lie. We have all been conditioned to live a life set by rules and standards that were handed down to us, and ultimately we had no say in at all. If I have no say in the rules that hold doctrine over my life, how could I ever convince myself that I am free? It's simply impossible. Freedom is the biggest lie ever told. And I'm not saying that not having freedom is a bad thing entirely. Society does need a certain set of standards and rules to live by. However, when you remove agency from that equation, when you remove the fact that you're not letting people learn from their own experience, you're not letting people take their own individual path, the sooner you can devise a system that traps people. We have to start getting away from this everybody take the same road to reach the same goal, right? Not everybody has the same ambition. Not everybody has the same goal. Going to college and trying to become a CEO isn't everybody's role in this world. Period. The end. Think about things for a moment. If you're a CEO, right, you would think you have all this money, you have all this power, that you would be going home, having an orgy, drinking wine, sitting back, relaxing. No. Having great food. But no, that's not what people do. You are so exhausted from the monotony, so exhausted from the lack of actual agency over your own life, that by the time you get home, you don't enjoy yourself. You sit down, you eat a TV dinner, you freaking plop yourself in the computer and you jack off to some porn instead of laying next to your beautiful wife and having sex, or going out and having that orgy, etc., etc. I'm not sitting here telling you that having an orgy is what you should be doing, right? But what I'm getting at is, if you really wanted to experience life and live in the moment, you could. But you don't, because you've been programmed to live for tomorrow. I can do that after I run this rat race, after I earn that promissory note that I can place on a counter and buy pleasure. Again, what is the American dollar? The American dollar is the ultimate symbol of living for tomorrow. Because when you plop that currency down on the counter, it's not a payment. It is a promise to pay you tomorrow. Again, reinforcing this system of taking away agency. Now, if you really wanted to remove yourself from this system as a business owner, you could accept whatever you wanted as payment legally. You don't have to accept the US dollar as currency if you don't want to as a business. But the system is so reinforced that you don't have a choice. If you said, I only want to take silver, who's going to shop with you? So what do? They reinforce this system to a point where you have no choice but to buy into it. And they convince you that you're buying into it because you want to. Free agency and freedom is the biggest lie that has ever been told. I don't have any answer as to how to remove yourself from this equation, but waking up to the fact that you are part of it, I'm pretty sure it's the first step. Enjoy your weekend, guys. God bless you and your family. And remember, man, all of us are family. If you're sitting here watching these videos, there's a reason why. Have a nice week.